Switch.
That was the best one, sadly.
That was definitely it.
My dreams are falling apart here, but all right.
All right. Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host, Matt, with the screechy voice, and here with me is Mike.
What up, hoes?
And Unoclay.
I'm still laughing because of our fame and fortune and chances to ever be a professional singing group just died a screaming horrible death.
It was literally in your dreams where the idea came from.
Brother.
So this week, everyone's been playing something, and there hasn't been a whole lot of news, so we'll mostly be
I wonder what
on...
everyone has been playing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I clearly wonder.
The N-Gage, I think that
Probably.
Came back. Anyway.
This week for Nintendo fans, nothing at all.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
Well,
so we'll mostly be talking about Zelda and Switch and whatnot. But first, I want to give a little shout out to the Nindies showcase. It came out, I think, a day or so after we uploaded or recorded our last podcast, and it was funny because none of us really knew that it existed, and then it happened, and it was wow, this actually gave me a lot of good feelings about the Switch because there's all these cool looking indie games coming.
True.
It gave everyone a good feeling on this podcast except for Mike, who surely...
Yeah, I really didn't care. I was like, oh, indie trash? Yawn.
Mr. I'm gonna buy Shovel Knight.
Yeah, I'm only buying it because there's nothing else. There's nothing for me to play right now, so I'm forced to buy it. I don't even have to buy it. So you know what? I might not even buy it if you're gonna give me that kind of flack. All right, how about that?
Yeah, let's not talk him out of it. It was funny because when that all happened, and most of the Nintendo world, I would say I'd be in good company to say was pretty happy with what they showed for all those indies. I definitely was thinking of Mike, who's a professed indie hater, and I was he's sitting there being this doesn't matter at all. What's all this garbage?
It really didn't. Honestly, I read every article. I was like, oh man. I just didn't care. I think there was maybe one game that piqued my interest, but it's one of those games that I'm just gonna look at and be like, this seems pretty cool. I'm not gonna buy it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how I go. That's every time I read an indie game, I'm just nah. That's it. That's my whole thought process. I'll watch the video, I'll read everything about it, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm not getting this.
But as for the rest of us, I was actually pretty stoked with it. I didn't really know what to expect at first. I mean, obviously indie games. But then I watched it, and they opened with SteamWorld Dig 2, and I practically, jumped out of my seat. When it came up, I'm like, what? This game is here? Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I'm acting like this is some AAA, game, some long-lost Nintendo property got brought back. No, it's just SteamWorld Dig 2, but it's such a good game. I'm like, yeah, it's coming back, because I didn't know.
SteamWorld a 3DS game?
Yeah, it was also on Wii U and some other platforms, I think. But I didn't.
Later on, though, right? That was later on, right? Because SteamWorld Dig's the one with that yellow robot with the green eyes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Western hat. Okay.
Yeah.
I always confused him with that armadillo guy who looks kind of like him.
Dylan's Rolling Western, bro.
That's what I thought it was at first.
No,
this game's good.
I don't know. But kids in your indies and your $8 games that are cheaply made for 2 hours of fun.
SteamWorld's the bomb, man. He's right. SteamWorld 1. I didn't play the second one, which was a completely different kind of game, but or whatever. I guess it's not the second one now because they numbered it now. But SteamWorld, whatever. What was the other one called? SteamWorld
Heist.
SteamWorld.
That's what it was.
SteamWorld Heist, right? Yeah, because it was a tactical game. I didn't play it because we talked about that a long time ago, and I think Eli played it and said it was decent, but it definitely didn't sound like my kind of game. But I totally agree. I was pumped. SteamWorld 1 was an awesome game that I played through really fast. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, and it has that complete Metroidvania, as they call it, like kind of gameplay a little bit, like, and then it's got a really good atmosphere. I was pumped too because I wanted to see a direct sequel, not like some other kind of gameplay. And so I'm happy for you, but I'm happy for me too because I'm gonna play that game for sure.
I was surprised because I was pretty sure that they were gonna do like another, I guess, spin-off game or something like SteamWorld Heist, where it's in maybe the same universe, but it's not like an actual sequel or something. I figured they would have had like more space in between there, but they didn't, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
because I can't wait for it. And it's coming out this summer too. It's not like next year or whatever. It's like it's like 4 months away or something. Oh, that's awesome.
It's a perfect portable game. It's perfectly fun. It's like anyone who didn't play SteamWorld 1 yet, like just stop. Like if you like platformers at all and you like classic Nintendo through the lens of like a modern indie retro filter, like the modern way, like games like emulate what you kind of remember it was like in the NES and Super NES days, then this game is something you should play. It's not very long, but it's really good, and it's probably pretty cheap by now. So I would say SteamWorld 1 is a must play if you haven't and you have any interest in it. And then like it looks like they're bringing back the formula from the first one this time, which is like, digging and looting and like getting items and finding items and upgrading your robot. And like it's got just a neat addictive play style where you're trying to mine underground and find new gems and new powers and stuff. It's just a really fun game, and it's really compact, well designed. It could have had, in my opinion, the first one could have had better boss fights or some kind of like better like climaxes, so to speak, because it didn't have a ton of that. It was more about the exploration. Yeah. But it was still worthy and it had a cool story and everything. So, I was happy for you, Matt, because I knew you liked that game a lot, and you were like right away like, yes, like SteamWorld did you.
Yeah, it's like spamming the chat and like our chat in the group chat. I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, and I can't even. I don't even know if I'll be able to play it when it releases anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing. I'm the most excited for it, and I'm the one person who can't benefit from it.
Yeah, but, is that one of the? Do you recall? Is that one of the ones that's exclusive to Nintendo for a while? Or I know some of the Nindies were, and it's probably hard to remember which ones, but there were some that are.
Don't remember. There's some that are timed exclusives. There are some that are only console exclusives. Then there are some that are just exclusives. So it's really weird.
Keep track of for once. It's a shame, Mike, you're not excited for this, because for once it felt like being on another console for a Nintendo fan, because you were like, holy crap, there's a lot of games. Like,
is that what like other people were like when other indies are announced? Because it's like, I mean, I don't know this feel, so it's just like, to me, like when people were like, when Xbox had the Xbox ID thing, and then like Sony was like, look, we have all these indie games going. I was like, who cares? Like, honestly, like it's usually like the part where I turn off E3. But like, I didn't know it was such a big deal. So,
it's just having a choice. Like, it's just having a choice for once. Like, it's like it's not like we have to play whatever indies or whatever are out there. It's like this time it's like, there's a list of like 30 games and you can pick like, isn't
Nintendo usually good with indies? Like the 3DS had a lot of individual games.
Yeah. The Wii U did pretty well with them, I think.
I just don't feel like we ever had a bombardment like this that I can remember, where it was like,
I remember Sony had like the biggest one kind of thing. It was like people were like, "Look, we need this." Like it was like when Sony was fighting the Xbox One during that E3, and they're like, "Look, indies want to come to our thing rather than Xbox." And I was like, but I mean, that is a deal breaker for a lot of people. So I respect it.
It's important. There's no way around it. It's super important because we've had the debate where we've drilled it into the ground on this podcast, and we'll surely have it again, whether Nintendo should be trying to court all the big AAA titles that go on the other systems, or whether anybody would buy them on a Nintendo console, et cetera, et cetera. We beat it to death. But this is the solution I've always said they need. If they're not going to be able to like bring in the Call of Duty crowd and the AAA crowd for the non-Nintendo stuff, this is the answer. Make this be like Steam. Make Nintendo be Nintendo plus Steam equals winning, because that's what a lot of people want to play these days, whether or not it's your my kind of game. It's
no, that's definitely true. I agree on that. Like I said, I think a lot of indies look cool. It's just I don't really support, like, look, yeah, I don't count Ukulele as an indie. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I think I'm pretty convinced that Shovel Knight is upgraded over indie title.
Yeah.
But it's like, for me, like, I mean, like, look, like I said, I respect a lot of the games, but it's just I don't want to, like, I'll pay for a $5 indie maybe, but like, a lot of them are usually given for free on PS Plus, and those are like the upper echelon ones that did already like super well. Mm-hmm. And I just can't see myself putting in time in what's a major risk. Yes, every game is a risk in purchase, but like, like there's like, I guess, I mean, it's not money or time or hard work. Like, I played that crappy Undertale game. That game is trash, but like, that was free. But if I would have bought that because everyone was saying it was such an amazing game, like, I would have been like really pissed. I'm like, damn, I wasted my money on this complete game. I have no idea who the founders are about. Like, Mother 4 is an indie, not really an indie game, but an indie game made by people who are just fans. Like, I'm excited for that, and it's free. But I don't know. I just get worried because indies are not very wide, are not very smart consumer wise, in my opinion. Yeah. And I mean, I do have an economic BA, so I think I know things about it.
No, that's an interesting way. If you're saying because it devalues the pricing of games and makes more cheap games come, if that's true, like, yeah,
that's the way I look. I used to look at it. Now I do like see like some people like I said, some people can't afford a $60 game every 3 days. AK this week when you want to buy Zelda, freaking Horizon Zero, and then you want to buy Nier Automata. You know what I mean? Freaking tomorrow. Yeah. That's like $180 in games right there.
Right. Yeah. No, that's it's a really tough debate that I go around in my own head about, because I totally agree. I don't want to see an industry where there are less and less like quality games because studios don't want to put the money into them, because they're like, yeah, we could make a lot more money with an iPhone game that is cheap as crap and is garbage. And I 100% agree with that. And then there's like, I think what we're starting to see, I mean, in my mind, we're certainly in the middle of it. This is still a new phenomenon in video gaming, but like Nintendo is trying to kind of get there, and other companies are like, where you want the middle ground, like a game that is like a $20 game or a $30 game. And like, I don't know if we'll ever get there with the indie scene, but I mean, some of these games are going to, on this list that they released, are definitely going to be $15 games. Some of them are probably even going to be 20 when they come out. So they kind of like, I mean, I'm wondering, like, for instance, Blaster Master Zero. That's a big IP. I'm wondering what that'll retail at when that debuts.
That was the one game I looked at that was like, you know what I mean? I was like, ooh, this seems interesting. You know what I mean? That was like the one game.
And it might, like, and then how do we read it? If we're worried about pricing, like you're saying, which I totally get that argument. I totally am down with it. I've made it for years. I'm like, I don't want to live in a world where it's this like less and less of the good stuff and more of the garbage, like half gamey games, whatever, like crap. Like
I think you'll always have a spectrum, because the big AAA games are always going to get, much more, not brand recognition, but their face is going to be out there more.
Guaranteed
advertisements. They're always going to make like tens of millions of dollars. Well, probably possibly more than that, because they spend so many millions on it. Yeah. It has to make more than that. But when you sell 5 million copies and you make like at least $20 a pop, you're making a lot of money. So I mean, those will never die. And I think there's always going to be like this smaller developer that really wants to make like a passion project sort of thing. You're always going to get your trash, of course, but I think there's enough room for like everything to kind of exist.
Let's hope so. I mean, like, because the scary end of the spectrum is like what happened to Kojima with like Metal Gear and all that. Like, sure, he's famous. He's like the Terry Gilliam, like, to use a movie reference, of like gaming development. Apparently, he runs over budget. He's tough to work with. His projects always go out of control and like get bigger and bigger. From what I limited know about it, but like, then he gets like canned basically. And some of the way I've read it, is like because they don't want him there costing all this money and making these crazy games that are like insanely artistic and insanely like devoted, to his craft. But yeah, he's not on a budget. I mean, he's kind of an extreme example. but that's I think the kind of thing some people would point to. They'd be like, "Yep, look what happens." Like in this world where Konami just wants to make money on iPhone, and pachinko games or whatever, like so, like I don't know. It's tough.
I think the difference there is that's a Japanese studio, and mobile games do a lot better. Well, I don't want to say a lot, but they do very well in Japan. So sure. I could see why they do that. Like, hey, why are we spending, tens of millions or whatever on Kojima, or 100 million or whatever, making this crazy game, spending all these years, like 5 years to make this game, when we could poop out like a phone game and still get like millions of
just
millions.
As much.
Yeah, for less money. And
like
less
I said,
time,
he's an extreme example. Like he's the most extreme example, like where you're like, see what happens? Like they just want to make the money on the phone, like and they have one of the greatest directors who probably costs the most of anybody, to work with in the end. But anyhow, what we should probably talk about.
I was gonna ask, okay, before we go on, I was gonna ask, if you spend $15 on an indie game, how long do you expect it to last you? Like it's an individual single player game.
Matt, I don't know. I have an answer.
I don't know.
I
guess to me, I don't know. I give some lenience to indies because I realize like it's a smaller team, so they're not going to put in a ton of
$15. He said, like, okay.
Bucks. I don't know, because to me it depends on like what the game is to begin with. Like I don't really know. I would have to see the game, like it would have to be on a game-to-game basis, basically. Like, oh man,
okay, like genre, etc.
Yeah, right? It's like, how much am I interested in this game, and then see, okay, is this price worth it? Maybe, maybe not. Like The Witness, I think kind of looks interesting, like a bunch of puzzles. Actually, I don't think it's that great. It looks like all the same puzzles. I can't think of another example, but. Yeah, I don't know. Like Guacamelee, I think cost like $10 or $15, and it was only like 4 hours. But I really loved that game.
Yeah,
so I felt like it was worth my money, even though I wish there was more of it.
I mean, $15, I'd want like 4 or 5 hours minimum. Yeah. If it was really good, I'm happy with that. Like if it was garbage and I got 4 or 5 hours out of it, I probably wouldn't even finish it. So I might not even know. You know what I mean? But I read all the reviews. I don't buy things lightly. I read every review I can for something before I spend $15 on it, to be honest, or more. So like $15 is the higher end for, I guess, for a lot of indies. So yeah, I'd want like 5 hours or more. I don't know.
Because most of the indies I look at are usually that price. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
it's like, right. It's like I'm just looking at like the upper echelon indies.
Right. Yeah, I like Shovel Knight. I've easily gotten 15 hours out. And so it's like $1 an hour or whatever. I don't know what I paid for Shovel Knight anymore. God, that's forever ago. But it's like the greatest, like, cool tribute to classic Nintendo. And then the fact that they're crazy and they're giving you like campaign after campaign for free. Like they're literally crazy. They have it on their website. They have an FAQ on their website that says, like, it's got all the typical questions like, when's it releasing? When's the next update? And then there's one that's like, why are you still giving this all away for free when you could charge everyone a ton of money for this? And they're like, because we said we were and we're gonna do that. Like we said we were gonna make all this stuff free, and maybe it's a little crazy or whatever, but we're doing it. And it's like, they are crazy. Like at this point, they are crazy.
Well,
they're definitely crazy.
I looked it up
because, like I said, I wonder how the Switch sales will be for Shovel Knight. You know what I mean?
I'm sure it'll be good. I looked it
up
know. Because
that game's been death by now, I feel like, but maybe. I mean,
I looked it up because people are like, oh man, they're giving this away for free. And I'm like, well, thinking to myself, well, technically it was part of the Kickstarter goals, so they would have, accounted for the money or whatever. And then I looked at it, and like the distance between the previous goal and like, let's say Plague of Shadows, like another campaign was like, I think 15,000, and they said they spent like $1 million developing Plague of Shadows. So I'm like, yeah, they pretty much are giving it away for free. That Kickstarter money did not help them make that.
They are insane. Like, I mean, they're a credit to the industry, and we all know it. So what else are we excited for on this list? Because there were a lot of games here, and there's no way we can even talk about a percentage of them here.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't want to go this far in, but I just wanted to give a shout out to say, like, I thought the indie show was cool. and I was kind of surprised because I wouldn't really expect much. Like you usually with these kind of things, usually they're like, okay, some look cool, some look not great or whatever, but all the games look like genuinely fun to play. So I think that was the high point I got about it. And people are using HD Rumble and stuff, so that's cool to see.
Maybe HD Rumble is cool, even though I don't know what it is. It is cool.
Well, maybe one of these other weeks we should like sit down and like talk about the ones we're most excited for. Because you're right. I mean, this is like way too much to talk about, and we've got all year to talk about a lot of these games. But like, so yeah, for anyone listening who was excited by it, like I could sit here and name 5 to 10 games on that list. 5 I will definitely buy. 10 I could maybe buy. And so it's like, I'm sure a lot of people feel that same way. It's a great list, and having it on the go is going to be awesome. I'm going to have like games to travel around with from now on, like it looks like. So
yeah. You know. One quick thing before we move on to Zelda. Apparently Snipper Clips does have a single player mode. How it works is basically you just press a button and you switch to the other character.
Oh, cool.
I didn't know until like after we recorded and someone, was talking about it and saying they were playing in single player, and then I saw someone like stream it in single player. So nice. You can play it by yourself. I just assumed the nature of the game was multiplayer only, but it would obviously be better multiplayer than moving back and forth. But if you buy it, you can still play it yourself.
You finished that indie trash Snipper Clips already, right? You're done, right? You finished full campaign 100%?
Oh.
He's not even going to respond to that.
I'm not even going to respond to Snipper Clippers or whatever you kids play these days.
Snipper Clippers, bro. Snipper Clippers. We were talking about it last week. It's going to be sweet.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about your Snipper Clippers, man. Freaking, what do you spend, what is that, $100 game for 2 hours of single player and
$20.
12 hours of AI computer?
It's $20. It is a little high, but I'm going to probably get it because my wife said she'd play it with me because she said, you're super cute whenever you talk about Snipper Clippers. And I was like, oh, that's sweet, honey. We're going to play it together. It's going to be super fun. We're going to like do something.
You're like, yo, Snipper Clippers, man. What the ladies like. All right?
We're
don't spike play.
We're going to stay in tonight, honey. Do some snipper clipping together. How about that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be great. So, but I didn't play it. Didn't get around to it yet.
Yeah. So. All right, so let's move on to Zelda. Because this is the one thing I have been playing for once. I don't think
we've been playing the inferior version.
Actually, not really. Well, the unfortunate thing is it doesn't have anti-aliasing, which basically like softens the edges of pixels, so it looks kind of jagged. But
just to clarify for the listeners, you're playing the Wii U version, and Mike was shooting bullets at you there since you haven't acquired a Switch unit yet. So.
Yeah. But I don't think we'll go like person to person. I think we'll just talk all at once. But I haven't played. We all haven't played that much. At least as far as the quests go, we've all gotten out of the Great Plateau and then just have wandered around. And
yep,
we're all like trying to figure out if we're gonna spoil each other, and we're like, oh, we've all done nothing.
Yeah, dude, I'm actually playing right now.
I know, I heard you with the menus before, you douche.
I can totally hear spoilers, Mike. I can hear the spoilers.
You can hear the menu clicking spoilers, alright? Oh, man, this new menu. Oh, yeah. Oh, you guys went up to it.
Menus, dude.
Yeah.
So Matt, since you're playing the lateral version, we won't call it the inferior version, since it's clear the game was built on the system, or at least originally was started built on that on the Wii U, which I adore and don't want to call it an inferior system. I just want to call it the other system for now.
Mm-hmm.
I've used my Wii U every single day, mainly because of Netflix.
Oh,
but my Wii U.
Hey, I still use my Wii U. I gotta play trash, and I just got colors, and I got color splash. So.
Yeah, I've still got games I haven't finished on my Wii U, so my Wii U is not dead to me, very much not. But yeah, I guess my question to you would be here's something Mike can relate to. The Switch is awesome, the hardware is super cool. It's been analyzed to death in the media. I love it. I have some complaints that maybe we won't talk about, but the one thing I notice is when I'm playing it, I'm generally, my method control of choice so far for Zelda is I'm using the Joy-Cons in my hand like
yes,
not docked into any controls. Like I'm just like having them in one hand each, sitting back, kicking it on the couch. But like when you count, you have 8 buttons on each hand when you're using the Joy-Cons in that manner. And like if you count like clicky sticks and everything like that, I think, yeah, you have 8 buttons like total on your controller. And I will literally like get killed or make a mistake like because I forget what button to press, because I'll be like, which one's my archery set with my arrows? Like which one is like my shield? Shit. How do I do my quick change between items? You know, like when someone's rushing me, and by the time I remember, oh yeah, it's on my left hand, A button is to change my melee weapon. Like that goblin thing is already on top of me, hitting me on the head with a club, and I'm dead. And I'm like, damn it. And it's like, it's not the game's fault. It's not the hardware's fault. But I'm wondering if it's different. Like, what control layout are you playing, and like, are you encountering situations like that, like on the Wii U, however you're controlling it?
Oh, I'm definitely doing that. It's more of like just trying to get used to the controls, because it's so much different than a Zelda game. And it's the funny thing is, like, one of the big newer things is you have a jump button, but the jump button is like one of the least problems I have. It's just like remembering which button cycles through your swords or your arrows or your arrow types, things like that. And I'm starting to get the hang of it. But when I first was playing, it was pretty awful. But it's just something to get used to. I played with the gamepad at first, and then after I just started switching to the Pro Controller. I don't know if I really care. I don't really know if I think one is better than the other. It's just that the gamepad will obviously die faster, and there's literally nothing on the gamepad. Like for
what?
It was funny. I remember in an interview they said no. I remember in an interview they said, "Oh, we took some features off the gamepad because it was distracting and blah blah blah." I think it was just so they could have parity over both versions, because the Switch obviously can't do that. But I still thought like, oh, they'll just have the map on the bottom or something. No, on the bottom screen it's like Donkey Kong or something else, where it's just like tap on the screen and then you can play on the gamepad. I'm like, okay, so I don't need to use this anymore.
That is so ridiculous. I am so sorry, man. I'm so sorry for you, because I think like that. You're absolutely right that they wanted to make it. They didn't want to have to like develop 2 separate versions. At some point, they were like, no, it's got to be the same on both versions, so that it's just the same game in every possible way. We don't have to build anything different. We don't have to like hear people's complaints that one version is better than the other. Like we're gonna make it the same. But that's so that's such a bummer for people that have the Wii U version, because it's like.
Well, they can still play it like the way we're playing it.
I know.
Yeah, it does suck that it's like, hey, we could have, like, you guys could have did what you did for Twilight Princess or Wind Waker HD and just made it a quick menu.
I actually didn't care much for quick menus, because the thing with quick menus is you're still moving, like the game
and you get hurt,
moving.
dude. I'm the same way. Trust me. I just beat Twilight Princess. I hate doing that. I get hit every time I'm looking down.
The quick menu to me is useless, because like, I have to take my eyes off of the screen where things will kill me, and then look at the bottom screen to switch something out. Anyway, I would just pause it so that I could select something without dying. But here it's worse than Wind Waker, because the things actually will like kill you, and a ton of times I'll die because I forget to heal. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm hurt and whatever, but I could probably dodge this. Nope. Or someone hits me in one hit attack. I'm like, oh right, I only have 4 hearts now. I need to find more hearts.
Spoiler: I only got 3, and I didn't know there's more hearts in the game. I'm just kidding, but I actually only have 3 hearts.
No, everybody upgrades hearts over stamina first.
No way, dude. No way. Not over here.
Oh my gosh, you're the first.
Who's a hard?
Who's
a hardcore now? I'm like stamina forever, baby. I want this game to be actually hard. It was my exact reasoning. I sat there and thought, everybody takes hearts. I'm taking stamina. I want to be able to like jump higher. But I mean,
like when you start the game, there's things that will one hit kill you. So then from there on, everything is gonna one hit kill you.
Right here. You heard it here first. I'm gonna make a commitment to you guys. The next time I get to upgrade, I'm gonna take stamina again. Just saying, I'm gonna do it. Just to spite you guys. Like I want to see how hard it really gets if you like handicap yourself a little bit. Like because until Odyssey, what else are we playing?
This is the interesting thing about this game. A lot of people with past Zelda games would do a 3-heart challenge, and try to avoid getting heart containers. And technically, in this game, it's just built right in because of the way you don't really find heart containers. From what I'm assuming, you use specific items to basically cash in for heart containers. So you can control how many hearts you have or don't. So you could you could play it with 3 hearts and not get any more. So that's kind of nuts.
Right on.
All right.
But yeah,
before we go
talk.
on, I was gonna say, Clay, I am totally with you on every aspect you said about which way do you play the game. Me and Clay own, for those who don't know, both own the Pro Controller.
I don't have it yet. Actually, no, I didn't buy it because
I didn't know you didn't buy it. Okay. I have it. I actually went out to a few stores and was able to nab one.
No.
It's comfortable. Like, look, I think it's a really nice controller. Like, I like it, but I don't play Zelda with it at all. Like, I don't know. I mean, the Joy-Cons are just so comfortable. I play with them separate all the time. Like, I'm just sitting in a million poses. Like, I'm doing, like, the thinker pose, and I'm playing the game just comfortably. Like, the Joy-Cons are awesome. I have no idea what HD Rumble is. I got my nice, blue and green, whatever. Yep. Green, red, whatever they call it. I always am hitting the wrong button in this game. I actually switched jump and sprint a million times so far. Now I have B is jump and X is sprint.
That's what I did because it made no sense before.
Yeah,
it's still kind of off.
I wish you had more freedom though.
You can't sprint and jump well. Your fat fingers are not even fat fingers. Your fingers are gonna smush another button. So I don't really like how they set that up, but
yeah, and you're not allowed to switch any other, which kind of bothers me because I wanted to put sword as B, Y as jump. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't like how you can't roll either. Like, let me get my little tidbits what I don't like about the game, which is not a lot, but I don't like how you can't roll. I don't like how you can't run in sword or sword on a horse. Like Twilight Princess, I can do those things. So how is Twilight Princess still the most advanced?
Are you sure you can't attack with a weapon on a horse?
Yep, all you can do is bow and arrow.
Have you tried using a spear, maybe?
I haven't done a spear. I haven't tried that, but I'm just saying, though. In Twilight Princess, I don't have to. Like, okay,
sure.
You're gonna tell me a game that's
you'd have
10
to get
years old. I can do things.
You'd have to get dangerously close, and those enemies can hit pretty fast and then just knock you off. So
no, I can't freely swing a sword at all, on a horse. Or I can't walk and break grass. You know what I mean? Like, come on, I could do that 10 years ago, but I can't do that now.
It sounds funny when you say I can't walk and break grass. It's just something that cracks me up. I mean,
I do like the million button thing, but I do get sometimes a little bit confused. Like, I always hit R as my arrows and ZR, and I'm like, shit. I keep throwing my weapon.
I love that. Just throwing a weapon.
Throw a weapon for critical. I also don't forget when you go into magic mode or arrow mode, you have to switch your thing, switch again. So sometimes I get a little make stuff from there. I have no idea what whistling does, and then
it taunts enemies. It's a taunt. It's literally my wife was doing she rarely watches me play games. This is actually funny on the whistle, and I was having a great moment where I was trying to show off and fight some enemies that I was probably not ready to fight yet, and all my weapons were broken anyway, so I had to fight them with a crappy weapon. And she's like, I'm hiding, and I was trying to do some cool tricks to show off some of the magic powers or whatever your special powers. And I hit the wrong button, and I'm hiding behind a rock so that they wouldn't see me while I'm trying to knock them out. And I whistle, and then they all start charging me. And she's like, "That was really smooth." Just totally dropped. That was really smooth. And I'm like, shut up. I'm like, shut up. And they just jumped on me and killed me completely. And she's just sitting there critiquing me. This girl can't play anything but Tetris, And she's just like,
you got wrecked. Yeah. The only thing I don't like.
It might be for calling horses. I don't know. Because in Twilight Princess, you get a thing to call horses.
It's definitely
I've gotten a horse, but I haven't taken it to a stable, so maybe it just doesn't like me. Maybe I haven't made a bond with the horse to be able to actually
pet it more, dude. Pet it.
But
for real.
Anyway, Mike. go on.
Yeah, and the last thing like I said, it's a bit of a button mix up, but I don't like when I have like the bomb magic, right? And then I go to throw it and
you just drop it.
I drop it every time, and I'm like, why can't I? I don't like how I can't roll, and I don't like how I can't roll with A. I have to hit, and then I always hit ZR, and I just drop it anyway because you have to hit regular R, and I'm like, shit, I forgot. You know what I mean? Because regular R is just the shoulder button, but ZR is way more comfortable. You know,
The tip I have
more. You could map your controls more.
The tip I have for the throwing thing, because that's been driving me crazy too, is it just hit me. I mean, it's really obvious, and you probably already know it. But the throwing is the same for everything. So like your sword or the bombs. So it's like you just have to sit there and like go through it in your head and be like, throwing is always whatever that is, R. You know, like it's always that button for everything in this game. From here on out, if it's a pot, if it's freaking sword, anything, it's like R is throwing. It is because like you got the bow and arrow and everything else going.
The thing is like it has a lot of not old Zelda stuff in it. And, like, you know, like I said, like, oh, man, I miss rolling and just running around and throwing a bomb a lot easier. I wish there was hearts. I didn't know I was playing hero mode, so I can't find any hearts anymore in the grass.
Yeah, I know.
In the ass.
Minutes,
you know, but I think the game is great. Like, honestly, like, the way I thought about it was, like, I was thinking about it on the way to the gym. This is probably, like, look, it's not better than Ocarina of Time, but this is probably the best made Zelda, one of the best made games I've ever played in my life. You know what I mean? Like, that's how good it is.
High praise, man.
You know, like, it's that good of a game. Like,
where do you
idiot if you don't get this game.
Statement, Matt? How do you stand on that? Like, where's your heart?
I just want to ask Mike a question. What was, like, I guess your biggest fear going into Zelda, and then what happened after?
My biggest fear that they were going to change everything, and they did, but they didn't change. They changed it in a way. Look, I thought they were going to change it for what's worse. Like Skyward Sword, they changed the formula and it was worse. Like they didn't change the formula. Like, oh, you go to a dungeon, you get this. I like that. All right. Like, look, I'm not a true open world fan. I'm like a like Kingdom Hearts. You don't really have an open world. You can explore the entire world, but you're kind of limited. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
That's what I kind of like because. Yeah, because I'm like, look, I'm an easily distracted and I'm a hoarding kind of gamer. Like, dude, I'll hold on to a potion from the beginning of the game. And I'll be like, I don't even need this. I'm level 90 and this doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's a special
item like
forever.
I was there for me, like Clay. Yeah, like so I'm like, I know I'm gonna get lost and distracted in this game very easily. And of course it's happened, dude. I'm like hunting apples more than I am actually doing the game. Right? I'm like, shit, only 3 apples. What if one NPC asked for 4? You know,
that's so funny. That's so funny to hear you say that. My wife was busting on me for that too. She's like sitting there watching. She goes, "What's with you and these apples?" I'm like, "You need them. You don't understand." I'm like cooking apples. I'm over here like heating up my apples by the fire. And she's like, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "You don't understand. Like, you come over here and hold these."
Like, you just don't understand. Like, dude, I was gonna write I wanted to write a little piece about this. Like, you know, like basically like everything I'm saying and stuff. But it's like. I like, you know, like Skyward Sword changed the game like worse. Like I didn't like having limited equipment in that game. Like I didn't like how shields were practically useless. In this game, they're kind of cool. I like the surfing mechanic. I think that's really awesome. And I do like the slow motion effect. Like, you know, it kind of rewards me for my perfect time dodges, even though I use like the same stick every time because I'm like, oh man, I'm out of items. I need another stick. You know, and I'm not using my broadsword, which I should be, but. I was just like afraid that it was just not going to be Zelda, but it kind of is. It's like it's a new way. I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit of a Link Between Worlds, where it's like, hey, I could just go anywhere. You know what I mean? I could do whatever dungeon in whatever order, even though it's not really dungeons. Like they're all really simple. Getting those orb things. The game actually. I think the dungeons are harder. The world. I mean, the dungeons are mega easy for like dunces, but like the world is way harder. You know, and especially the way you take it. So I think that's really cool, and
this is the nicest I've ever heard you be to a game. I think for real, like I genuinely mean that, not in a mean way. Like I think I've never heard you like for a new game, like because like a lot of the games Mike tends to praise are stuff a little older, like and it's stuff that's been out a little while, like the classics. Like you know he'll praise stuff up to a certain point, but like this is like a new game, and you're just like gushing, and that's awesome. Like that's,
it's that good. Like I honestly like I think I was like smirking for 20 minutes while I climbed up a tree and then chopped it down. I was like, bro, I just chopped down a tree in a Zelda game. Like the hell, like you know, it's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Matt, what about you? What's your where are you placing this in the spectrum of Zeldas? What do you got to say to all that? That's huge.
Oh man,
huge praise.
I don't know how I would stack it up against other ones, but yeah, this is definitely like really high up there. Just running around in the world alone is fun. Like I said, we haven't even done like one of the main quests yet. I mean, it's also pretty far away when you start.
I'm like 8% sure we've only done 3% of the actual game. Like if there's like when they like save files when they're like, here's the percentage of game you completed. I'm pretty sure like all three of us like combined are like 2.5%. Like
Yeah. But I don't know. Just running around in the world is fun on its own. Just interacting with everything. Like I forget. I turned around. I was fighting a horde of enemies, and then I turned around, there was like a deer there, and I like threw my spear at it right in its face, and it exploded into meat, and it just like I love one of the things is I love throwing weapons at enemies' faces. Like one of the first things I did accidentally was of course throw a weapon. I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool. So I was fighting like bokoblins, and I threw one in its face, and it starts screaming, and I'm just killing myself. Like it's just simple fun.
Funny. It's funny you say about the animal thing, because this is true. I'm revealing here. I don't like talking about personal stuff too much on the podcast, but I mean, I've mentioned it before. I'm a vegetarian, and I've actually been trying to do a vegetarian run of the game so far, like where I'm only eating either like this is cheating, because my wife was calling me out on it because she saw my item box and we're both veg, and she's like, look, why do you got like meat in there? Look at that. You're eating like steaks and chicken wings and stuff in this game. And I go, those are ones I found that were like, I killed somebody and it was already there. So it's okay. I was like, I didn't kill anything to get the food. I'm not even joking. Like I was going to see how far I can go into the game before like I have to like kill something to eat it. Where I was like, or did they build it so you could potentially like always eat like the mushrooms and the apples and whatever else that you find? And like, could you live in this world without doing it? I'm really curious because I'm not that far. And I'm dying all the time. And I'm like, but I only have 3 hearts. So it doesn't really matter. If I got an apple, I'm all set. You know, I'm like, yeah, I'll eat my apples.
Maybe you can make like a stew or something. And then that would give you like enough hearts. Because I know cooking meat with fruit and vegetables like gives you good healing items.
Anyway, it's just funny because you said that because I saw a deer run by me. And then I saw some other kind of like yak or something run by me the one time. And she's like, aren't you going to try and kill that? And I was like, that's an animal. Like she didn't know what it was. She just saw something going by the screen. I was like, I'm not going to go kill a yak. And she's like, I was like, it wasn't hurting me. He was just running by. And she's just like, oh. And then she like, that's when we started talking about it. It was funny because it's so beautiful. Like I was just like sitting there, like looking at the animals running around. I'm like, God, this game, like, God. Yeah. How about it? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm trying to kill a bunch of animals, and I tried like, I'm like, oh, there's a group of horses. Let me use this bomb arrow and see what happens. They light on fire for a second. They don't die, but it was worth a shot. And then I tried mounting a horse once, and I must have chosen like the worst one of the bunch because it kept bucking me off, and I actually got hurt from it, and I didn't notice, and then I died. I'm like, oh, this thing actually kills you from getting thrown off.
Yeah, there's so many weird things, like, and you get hurt. Like, I forget to eat food, too, sometimes. I'm like, damn, I forget. Like, you know, it's just, like, having the 3-4 hearts and just getting wrecked.
Because you start off with so few hearts, you wouldn't think of it, but like other Zeldas, maybe you start off with 6, and the damage isn't that much. No,
you start off with 3, but the thing is, though, you do, like, the first dungeon right away, so you're technically with 4, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then you find pieces of a heart, and by the time you realize it, you'll have, like, 6 or 7, like, right off the bat.
But I mean, like, even then, the enemies didn't do much damage. It's like, half a heart, like quarter heart. It's like nothing. Here, it's like, a whole heart, 2 hearts, a heart and a half, or 3, or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of the blue ones, like those dark blue Bulbakin, whatever, they do like 3.
Those dudes wreck you. Those dudes wreck you. Like, you're just like, that. Oh man,
you need the perfect time though. But the thing is, though, that's one thing. I think also the game, like, it kind of like doesn't reward you. You don't get slow motion for perfect dodging a guy you're not Z targeting. You know that, right?
Okay.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Like, I hadn't really thought about it. I know it's hard to get the perfect timing, but yeah, you're right. Of course you're right. Like,
I mean, I know I perfect time a lot of the guys, and I had a little encounter while we were on the thing, and I was like, okay, I know I dodged that guy behind me, but I wasn't locked onto him, you know? And so I was like, oh, that makes sense, though. I mean, Like, because then, because you're supposed to only do the rush attack on the guy you're targeting. You know what I mean? Like, the other guy could come in and you get like maybe you get some side damage depending on your weapon. But it does, if you ever when you're watching in slow motion, you kind of realize that you and the enemy you did it to are kind of a brighter color than the entire background.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Arkham games, like the way you have to like be like the bonus like hits and stuff like that you could achieve. I think you'd have to be like facing the character. You have to be engaged with the character, however you would say it. It's not Z targeting, but you wouldn't get like the combos going the right way except for the character you're engaged with or whatever. So
did you guys Eli retweeted and a few other people I follow retweeted. It says the Switch outsold the Wii's opening sales and Zelda's outdone Super Mario 64.
Huh? No way.
Yeah, nice. Which is kind of crazy. I'm like, wow, like for Wii sales. I mean, Wii sales are like the number. You know what I mean? For any
the number.
Like it's like it's the Wii number, man. Like like PS2, like they sold the most, but I think it was like PS2 had a lot of like third world country sales, like. They stopped selling that stuff after like 2013, but I knew it was like still hot in like Brazil. You know what I mean? Like when we were getting PS3s and PS4 got announced, PS2 was the top seller over there. You know?
Yeah.
So like like the Wii is the number for like the main countries and stuff. So, but like apparently Europe wasn't like sales numbers weren't too hot. American sales numbers, but it just like I'm just shocked that it did better than the Wii like opening. Because I remember, dude, it was so hard to get a Wii on opening. Like I had to I waited at Best Buy for midnight, didn't even get it. Like I had to go to Toys R Us in some distant location. I mean, luckily, like I said, I live in New York. So I go down the block and there's 50 more stores. So I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
And side note, I heard Best Buy was the place that had the most had the most backup orders. You know what I mean? Like not like we couldn't fill them, but more Nintendo sent Best Buy more Switches for people who didn't pre-order, so you were able to buy it there without having it pre-ordered. But I think that's just because Best Buy and Nintendo usually partner up for E3, which would make sense. So they kind of rewarded that company with extra Switches.
Yeah. And they're one of the biggest retailers in the country, period. I mean, they're bigger than GameStop by like a far distance in terms
definitely.
of money and stuff like that. Like I go to GameStop because even though GameStop's got a lot of problems, like it's still like a gaming devoted store. So I had
Best Buy's not near me. I'll go there when I'm out there and buy some stuff. Like they're more like overall electronics, but if you're looking for games, you obviously if you don't have like a mom and pop store, you're not like, oh, I'm super cool with these guys. You usually just go to GameStop.
Yeah. So that's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, it's interesting to see. I mean, like something I replied to Eli, our absent member this week, one of his things was saying about the numbers. And I said, I don't even know if you can read too much into this because frankly, it's all limited by supply right now. Like if they had like 5 million units in stores, then we could gauge it because you'd know, did they sell 5 million units? You know what I mean? Or whatever. Like
you don't know the hard numbers of how many Wii U units were like actually sold on the first day. Plus, I don't think they had pre-orders back when the Wii was being sold, so there's that against it too, right?
Yeah, they did. You're right. I out and just got one. Like I didn't have a pre-order or anything like that.
Yeah.
But true.
And that's when internet buying was like kind of like somewhat, you know what I mean? Like it would be like you get the people, but they'll be like, oh, we'll have 5 for the back, the back order online people, and most of them would be in store. Now it's kind of split. I think a little bit more actually online, which is because people are fat, lazy, and afraid of other human interaction. But
tell us how you really feel.
But I was gonna say the other thing is too. Damn, I was gonna say something about. Clay, I was gonna ask you. Like, I wanted to do like a one-on-one, like for how do you feel about the Switch? Like, you opened it up, like, like you know what I mean, like your own reactions to the Switch. You know what I'm saying?
I thought it was like here's the most unique thing I could probably offer up that someone else maybe hasn't talked about to death is that I found it interesting how they go to the detail of like the way the box feels for a big hardware release like this. Like it's like that. I don't know how to describe it. It feels like light dust or something on the actual texture of the box. It's a funny thing to note, but like I noted it because it's how my like MacBook box feels like, and only certain hardware seems to like ship in something like classy like that. I don't know. It was a random thing I noticed. Other than that, it was. I mean, this is the first time I ever bought a piece of hardware that didn't have like any instructions in the box that I can think of.
Dude, yeah, I had no idea how to get it. Like now I can flip off the Joy-Cons, but the first night, dude, like 30 minutes of me trying to get this thing all like on the Switch and then back off. I was like, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and in terms of a hardware design, I think that's the biggest flaw in. Well, I have a couple complaints. And I don't want to go on about complaining and stuff like that, but like. Getting the Joy-Cons in and out of the unit, people who haven't touched the Switch yet or watched a ton of videos should know it's a little challenging. And what I particularly don't like about it is that in order to get the Joy-Cons out, there's a release button that's like on the back of the Joy-Cons, and you have to press that button and then pull at the same time. This all makes sense because you don't want those things to be popping out like when you're playing. You want them to be snug. It's understandable. They got to be locked in there somehow. But the problem is the Joy-Cons are so little that like when you try to press that release button, you inevitably end up pressing other buttons. And so it's not a big deal. Listen, first world problems. It's not the end of the world, but you end up pressing other buttons. So if like you're in the middle of a game and you're like trying to do something and you're like, for some reason you want to detach the Joy-Cons like live or something like that, you're going to probably press like a bunch of other buttons like accidentally while you're trying to get out. Or at least I haven't figured out how to do it.
No way. You got the sweet spot, man. You got to go a little bit under the ZR and then put your thumb right above the X button on the on your right one. And then that's how you get it right there. I'm doing it right now. It took me a while, man. I'm telling you, I had to practice.
I got you. Yeah, it's funny. You got to learn how to hold it because I mean the Switch is not a big item, so I totally hear what you're saying. It's like, but then like I think of it, I'm like, then I'm going to be putting my other hand all over the like screen and stuff like that while I'm doing it, like or
dude, oh my god, yes. Okay, one thing, I don't have the biggest hands. Like my younger brother's got huge hands. Okay, so he likes the Pro Controller a little bit more because when we played Bomberman, he was like, wow, he's like the Joy-Cons are kind of small,
Yeah.
Which is totally fair. I'm like, but he played around with them, like he got comfortable with it, and then we switched up after. Like the Joy-Cons are so comfortable. They're the most underrated like controller I've ever played with. Like it's so like I can just play with them all day, man. Like you know what I mean? Like they're great. I don't like when I take out my Switch, it's bigger. Okay, the system is smaller than I thought it was. You know what I mean from pictures, but like. Taking the thing out of the screen, like okay, I'm taking it out now, like it's wider than I think it is. You know what I mean? Like you can't I was trying to like lay down in my bed originally and like play it, without putting the stand up, and it's just like you can't just like it's not like a 3DS where you can just like turn it on its side and it's like hey, I'm comfortable laying down and playing. You know what I mean? Like it's too big, and then your thumb, like you have to use your widest hand grip. To kind of like, if you want to one-handed and carry it downstairs or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not like, hey, I'm just going to hold it. It's like a folded 3DS kind of thing. Like, it's a lot bigger than that. And then, like, if you don't have the biggest hands, like, you're using, like, your full strength or you can't even. So, and then obviously, it's your precious baby for right now. Yeah. Like, I was actually
I was just gonna say, and it's your golden goose. You ain't using just one hand to carry this thing around. You're like, this thing is not.
It's like in my sweatshirt, in my pants, with both my hands around, and like, oh, you're like, yes, I'm expecting. Okay, like that's how I walk around.
Like, it's funny. I'm going on a trip, just like a 2 hours away to my buddy's house this weekend to go see a concert. But like, I'm taking the train to go there. He's a gamer. He's casual. He's one of those like Mike, you always have funny terms with you. There's like some shitty casual or something.
Filthy casual.
Some lame ass pleb. He's ignorant to the ways of the world. Yeah.
No, but he likes games. He's a good guy. He likes games, and I guarantee he's the kind of person. If I show him a Switch, he's gonna want one. He's gonna be like, "Oh, dude, this is awesome. I want it." And he's never. Yeah, like
I love that feeling. Just making people buy it. It's like, like my best friend bought it because he saw mine.
So I want to take it, but I'm already like devising because I didn't buy a carrying case either because I'm cheap, and I was like, I'm cheap. Bullshit. I spent like $1,000 in games.
What? You didn't get the special edition Zelda, dude? This carrying case is amazing.
Because it's soft. It's soft. I heard it's soft. Isn't it soft? That case?
No, man. And guess what? Did you watch that video? You could drop your Switch on concrete like 10 times.
That was nuts.
Yeah, I ain't trying that. Like it's like a cat with like 11 lives. Like I ain't starting that. But like I'm already devising because I'm gonna go tomorrow. I'm gonna go to the store one of these days this week and look at the different carrying cases because I didn't even look at it because I was like, dude, I'm already spending like almost $400 on this thing. Like I'm not buying any. I'm not an accessories guy. Like that's not even my thing ever. Like I don't buy accessories for systems. Like I buy functional stuff like a controller, but I don't buy accessories. It's not my scene. Like I just don't want that. Like this time
you need a case. You need a carrying case.
I need a case. Like I'm like, and I want a hard case. I don't want some soft case. It needs to be
the
like.
thing is though, the Nintendo cases usually come with like my Zelda case. It has like spot for all the game cartridges, which I wouldn't carry, but I mean I know a lot of people do, and it has like a spot for extra Joy-Con controllers. Like, dude, it's like you have to get a Nintendo case though because they let you carry extra stuff in it. You know what I mean? Like, or you could just be like you could just get like a look for like a tablet case. You know what I mean? And then like one that's like it might be a little bit bigger, like just say an iPad case. You probably could sneak that in there, but without the Joy-Cons attached, kind of thing.
No, I'm not doing that. Like,
I would say a screen protector was probably.
Oh yeah, necessary. I got that. I picked one up
because I heard there's some issues putting it in the dock, and it's not like made of felt on the inside, so I'd be concerned about that.
Yeah, I'm getting one of those.
I don't even have a screen protector on my iPad.
Yeah, I'm ordering a screen protector. They got me there. Like I saw all the reports. I was like, I gotta buy this damn screen protector now. And then like this, but the case, I gotta find a hard one. So I'm gonna look up and see which ones of these are hard and check it out. There's the one from Toys R Us, I think, is claiming it's hard. And I'm like, that's what I need. Because I like what I'm thinking of is like when I go on trips where I need to put it in a backpack with other like tons of other crap. Like I can't, and I'm not gonna want to worry about whether it gets smashed. Like it needs to be like a hard shell case. So that, you know, I do not have to think about this thing if like I'm not playing it and I'm not carrying it in my like handbag, you know, like right with me. Like I don't want to think about it. I want it to be like this thing could get decked and it'll be fine, you know. So like, you know, I don't know. Like I got to shop around because I'm already like taking cardboard boxes in my basement and like looking at the right size, and I'm putting bubble wrap in there for this weekend. Like I'm making a little cradle for the golden baby, you know. Like, yeah, so we'll see,
dude. Like, oh man, like, are you a little bit nervous bringing it out? You know?
Yeah, because I'm gonna have to bring the dock and everything to really show it off. So I'm gonna have to bring the whole damn thing. You know, it's like
just put it back in the box and then carry the box.
Yeah, but then I have to carry a box on the train when I already got other crap to carry, and then I want to.
Oh yeah, damn. Yeah, you're right.
You know, and I don't want to get jumped because you know this is the hood. So it's like no, like, so someone's gonna be like, dude, he got the Switch. Like that's better than an iPhone 7. I got to get that. You know. So no, we'll see. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet, but I mean, like, even if I buy a carrying case, it's not going to solve the dock thing. Like, because I definitely want it. That's the only way I could really show it to him. You know what I mean? Like, otherwise it'd be like the two of us, like, oh, look at it, like handing it back and forth. You know what I mean? Like, that's no fun. Like, I want to play snipper clips with my boy.
Yeah. So, Mike, that's interesting that you didn't really find the Joy-Cons like a problem, like too small or something, because I haven't actually seen how big this system is or gotten hands-on with it, so I don't
it's
really
smaller
know
than you think, but the screen is bigger than you you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
that's
overall,
weird.
like, little dock, it's like a little thing.
Everyone keeps showing stupid side comparisons via pictures, but no one will use a damn ruler. The one universal method. Like, come on, people.
Okay, but, wait. I do have a complaint before we... I don't like the thing it comes with where you put the two Joy-Cons together.
The controller grip?
Yeah, I think that is the worst way to play it, in my opinion. Does it charge it? Or
No, you can't.
Okay, I wanted to make sure, like, because I didn't know if it was a charger, because I know there's 4 lights, and that determines your battery life. And every time you connect it, you can see 4 lights on the inside of the Joy-Con or on the controller grip. But the controller grip, I don't know, it's small. It felt weird when you put it in. It comes into like a giant square. It kind of seems like one of those, like, you know, like those, like, not those Chinese knockoff systems, but like those second tier, like, what kind of bullcrap company made this? That's what it kind of looks like, one of those controllers, and feels like. I mean, you may like it more that way, but like, this is like, it's probably my least preferred way to play would be.
I barely used it. I don't have a strong feeling about it because I barely used it. I put them in there once, and then I thought, you know, one of the things, it took me like till probably the 3rd hour of playing to realize that to remember / realize that the Joy-Cons are like gyros. that you can aim your arrows with them, and I swear I was like shooting arrows all over using reticule, like and
oh, did you take off aim assist, or I mean the motion aim?
Yeah. I didn't remember it was there, and then like one time I moved, I was like, this is really hard to aim this arrow. Like I was really, I was really having trouble like getting to stay still, and then all of a sudden I realized it was because every time I would move my thumb, I would move the Joy-Con a little bit, and it was like I was like messing with the program because I was like, oh my God. So like if you had those things in the grip, when you saw all of that, you know what I mean? Like you would lose the gyro aspect like a lot. So like, yeah, I'm not interested in that. The whole point, the gyros are awesome. They're like way better Wiimotes. So it's
okay. Before we go on to like the OS and stuff, well, Matt, what's HD Rumble? Can someone explain that to me?
So HD Rumble is, as far as I'm aware, basically they put a bunch of little motors throughout the whatchamacallit. Actually, I saw someone take it apart, so I didn't actually see a bunch of motors. But as far as how I know it acts, it simulates like rumbling throughout the controller. So rather, a basic rumble is just like you feel it from the center, and that's about it. Whereas HD rumble is you could feel it from all different spots of the controller, all different corners.
It's
so
partly
around the perimeter of it, rather than just like this thing vibrates. It's specific sections can vibrate.
It's the reason he's asking, to put it in context for you, Matt, is because Zelda has almost no rumble in it, and like so they did not bother to put the HD rumble into Zelda since it was a Wii U game. Mm-hmm. At least not at any part that you and I and Mike have all experienced yet. Like there are the most minimal rumbles when you like get on the elevator to go down into the temples or whatever. Like it gives.
I feel it more when I detach it from the Switch. The rumble, that it active. It gives it a little stuff. Like it gives itself a little activation rumble, and that's when I actually feel it. Which I mean, like I said, it seems pretty cool. But yeah, it doesn't seem like this game is really made for like the HD rumble.
It's not. They said they didn't put it in. It's only in some games, like 1-2 Switch and whatnot.
You switch because that's the game where you get to try out the milk the udders and shake the ice cubes,
and
I can't wait.
Okay, all right, yeah, I just wanted to know. The OS, I mean, the system seems barren when I'm not in the home menu, like compared to the Wii U. You know, like I kind of just felt like it's like, hey, this is the Switch, like shit gigging around. Like even my 3DS is more fun, maybe because I have a theme too, but. I do and don't like the eShop. I think it's way cleaner the way it looks now. But I just wish, obviously, there was more to it, and I think everyone wishes that right now. But obviously, the system just came out. I do like how easy it is just to like make any like you go up to 8 accounts, and I know you only get like one save really because everything gets saved on your cartridge. It's kind of like old school day, you know. I don't get why people didn't understand that. Like, no shit, your Breath of the Wild is not gonna work. You know what I mean? Freaking in another place when you're freaking playing on a cartridge. But I enjoyed everything about it. I think it's clean, fun, simple to use. You know, like I like it. It seems kind of barren.
Yeah,
it is.
To interject for a correction.
Sorry.
The games save on the internal memory, not the actual cartridge.
I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on the console.
But you can't move it. You got part of it right. You can't move it.
Now, one thing I was gonna say was I do love, like, I don't know if it's only the cartridge version, but there's like so many backup saves in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, a lot of auto saves.
There's like 10 of them. It's awesome, dude. Like one time I messed up and I was like, man, I haven't really done anything for 2 hours. I just went back to a save at the Temple of Time and just kept, doing my thing.
I'm worse for that because I've died like too quick for it to autosave. I think it autosaves once you get like to a certain, either after a certain amount of time you've played or you reached like a different area, like a named area or something. And I spent a couple of times tonight trying to kill like a group, or the other night trying to kill like a group of enemies, but I kept dying and I couldn't reload from anything because it didn't save, but I couldn't use an autosave because it was too long away. So it was just funny. I'm like, I beat this once and I died. No, just let me go back.
That's funny. Yeah, I was trapped in a situation with like a bobokin or what the heck they're called, like where I was on a precipice and like the way I would respawn, I only had a heart and a half. So like I must have faced that same dude like 7 times, because it was like I would respawn and the dude would just do the same thing every time. He'd just leap at me and I wouldn't even have like time to do like Z target and dodge correctly. And he had a big weapon and I just kept dying. I'm like, gosh darn it. And I didn't even think of that I would have auto saves to go back. I was like, well, I'm just going to have to like figure out a way to deal with this guy, because like I got a cliff at my back and I got this dude in front of me and there's no getting away from him. He's definitely going to kill me every time. It was surprisingly difficult. I didn't even think of that. I could have like rewound time basically or whatever, but
yeah, you could all Ocarina of Time, did, man.
Yeah, totally.
So Unoclay, what are your overall thoughts of the Switch now that you've had it for a couple of days?
I'm loving it, but it's a Zelda machine for me right now. It's like it's nothing but a Zelda machine. Like I don't have anything else to do with it other than go and look at the eShop and then like go back to playing Zelda.
Go back to Zelda, yeah.
You know, it's
That's
like
exactly what it is. Like I only want to play, like I only want to play Bomberman with my brother. So it's like I'm not gonna play that solo. I don't.
Right. It's not. Yeah, Bomberman games are multiplayer games.
Like yeah. And then I want to play Shovel Knight with my friends. So it's like.
Right. I love it. I think it's a great system. I think there's issues. There's lots of things I could sit here and nitpick. We've been going on along already. We're already an hour and a half here, but like there's things I could nitpick. I'm not going to get into it right now. We talked a lot today on the chat about like the fact that you can't truly power off the system if you have it docked. Like it's always in sleep mode. If you have an alternate control like Mike does, I think you can totally power off, but I don't like that. But I mean, other than that, like, I think it's great.
I don't even know how to do it. I honestly don't know how to truly power off.
It's kind of buried in the menus. It's not worth getting into, but like we can talk about it offline. But
I'm worried. Like, is that bad if I don't like?
No, I think it's meant to sleep all the time. Like that's what made people notice it, because like.
You mean like the 3DS then?
Yeah, kind of. But I mean, the 3DS, you can power it off if you want to, and I do. You know what I mean? Like, I turn it off fairly often or whatever, and then I let it sleep if I know I'm going to use it again soon.
Yeah. It's more like a tablet in that sense, because I don't actually turn my iPad, like, completely off. I just, click it or close the case, and then it, like, sleeps or whatever.
It sort of came out today. It's sort of been talking about it on, like, the big message boards and stuff, that it was like people started to realize the same thing I'd been saying, that it's like, how do you turn this thing off? Like, and it's like, you can, but the problem is if you dock it after turning it off, it'll turn back on, because it thinks if you need to use it, it's too hard to explain on the podcast. But like, long story short is if you have a standalone controller, like a Pro controller, I'm pretty sure you could turn it all the way off. But if you only have Joy-Cons like me right now, the plebe I am, like you can't do it. You have to just sleep it if you're going to dock it. So it's like, whatever. It's a little thing. It's not a big deal. We talked about it too much already, basically. So it's like, whatever. But I love it. Mike, you obviously love the system. You've said nothing but positive, right? I mean, you're in.
Yeah, I think it's great. Like, it's awesome.
I wish those Joy-Cons were a little bigger. I do have big hands. You know what I'm talking about, ladies. And like, I can't like. They are a little small. I was worried about it before the system ever shipped, but I'll live. I mean, like it hasn't really made me like the system any less. Like I definitely sometimes find myself wishing they were like even 15% bigger than they are, but whatever, it's like, other than that, like, hey, I'm happy. Is $300 too much for a Switch? I don't really think so. So far, it seems like a really robust. I mean, the ops is fast as crap. Like you can jump in and out of like screenshots and the menus and the eShop. Like, yeah, lightning fast. Like it works really well. It's faster than faster than my wife's iPad for like swapping programs almost. Like, so like, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking it's great. I'm loving it. Matt, I can't wait for you to get one so we can hear your opinions on it. It's
one day.
It's kind of weird being in this position, where you're like, two of us have the new Nintendo, and like this is the first time I can remember this happening. Like where it's like, and then it's like a little bit of an imbalance, like where you're like gonna hear about it a lot before you ever get to play it or whatever. So
yeah, it's interesting to hear your reactions.
So, cool. Yeah, cool. What else we got? Anything else to talk about today?
I think that's about it. I guess I'll just wrap up with something I want to say about Zelda, and then I don't think you really got to say much, so probably you, and then get going. But the one worry I had going in was about weapons breaking, because I thought it would make the game a lot more annoying and I guess not fun, because you're always, oh man, I gotta look for. I mean, I know things would drop weapons, but I figured it would just get like annoying and you don't really have fun with it so much. But I actually really like it because it does force you to use different weapons and just try out a bunch of different things. And my favorite thing, of course, throwing items and or weapons in enemies' faces and watching it break.
Horses, at animals.
Yeah. I want to get another spear again and just throw it at some like bird or something.
Matt's a spear guy.
That was amazing.
Where's the Matt likes the spear stuff.
Matt's like, where's the master spear, man?
Yeah.
I don't want this sword.
It was an accident too. I was like, I was fighting some enemy, and then I accidentally pressed it, and I turned around quickly, and I like a deer jumped in my face, and I just let go, and it died. I'm like, ha! I killed you. But then it was also cool that it like was thrown far like an actual spear. But no, I really like that the weapon system in this game. The only problem I have is I need to expand my inventory because I still want to add like more weapons. And it's like, you got to get rid of something. And I'm like, well, dude, I kind of want to keep the axe for chopping trees. And then I found a soup ladle that I haven't found anywhere, but I haven't used it yet. It's like, and then there's this one item that's only good for like specific things, and I haven't even used it yet. But I want to hold on to it because I don't know if I'll find another one anytime soon. So,
dude, I know, man. Dude, I had a mop and I have a garden, like a farmer's hoe kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
the pitchfork.
And I'm like, what if somebody wants it, or what if it's important? And I'm like, I know it's not. Like I know, but like I said, this is the kind of game that's gonna make me freaking. Like trying to break my bad habit that me and Clay have, my hoarding. Not like look, like I said,
you can't hoard anymore. You have to drop that pot lid. You got to get rid of that pot lid. It is not a good shield. You got to get rid of that pot lid. And I'm like, the pot lid's funny. I'm loving using this pot lid as a shield. And it's like,
I know, man. I'm like, yo, but I'm like, it was the first shield I ever got. Now, like, I'll have like 8 of the spiked bobo. Like, I'll throw away like, because I have multiple copies of something. But dude, it's just. Like these open world games, like I said, I played them, but they're never really my thing. And like, I played Final Fantasy 15, but that game's open world for like 5 chapters. You know what I mean? And it's not, and there's always like a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of towns and a lot of side quests that I get easily distracted from. And that was the thing. That's why Final Fantasy 15 took me forever, dude. I made it to the final boss. I was like level like 70, and I'm like, wow, this final boss is a joke. You know what I mean? But it's because I played 40 hours of me hunted monsters and leveling up that I shouldn't have done. Like I was like, I was going to do like some of the stuff. I had like all the legendary weapons already. I was like, oh, whoops, And I think this game rewards that, but at the same time, it's just, like I said, it has me excited. It's doing it really well. So I just think it's just a good game, man. Like that's it. It's a great game.
It is. It's the Zelda game I have wanted for so long. It hurts because I've complained before about how Zelda's losing me and how I was tired of like Ocarina just getting remade. I'm like, Ocarina broke Zelda for me in a way because it's the greatest Zelda in some ways, and then it became so formulaic that I could barely enjoy them anymore. And I mean, like if you put me,
Clay, no, yeah, you're right. Because you know what I did? I was like hating Twilight Princess during my replay of it, but I actually like rekindled my love for it. Like I like it's not as high as I once thought it would be. Right. But when I was replaying it and all that, I was like, you know what? Like this game is not too bad. Like it really is a good game. Like some of the stuff about it, like it's not as good as Wind Waker and Ocarina of Time, and I can see now why. Before I used to think it was like amazing because I was like, wow, this is like one of the best. Like Ocarina of Time still has the best combat, but like Twilight Princess kind of refined everything, which is kind of crazy that they still don't follow up like that. Right now, Ocarina of Time is the only game you can crouch and use your sword. You know that, right?
It's like such a random stat.
Yeah, there's not many.
Yeah, I mean, I keep.
That was never really useful too.
Yeah, like I mean, actually, it's useful for here's
small
the factoid
enemies?
about it. No, when you do that, it actually holds on to your last hit or something like that, and like it was actually stronger than a jump strike. So if you jump strike someone, right, and then you crouch hit them in Ocarina of Time, you do more damage. Weird. But yeah, it really is pretty weird. But I was gonna say was the one thing about it. It's crazy. Like, you know, like you would think like this game being like so like advanced per se can like follow up on some stuff that just they from old Zelda games that just don't have it anymore. You know. But like I said, I don't really have any qualms with it. Those are just weird factoids. I'm always like, why did they do this? Or like, why can I do that 20 years ago when I can't do it now? You know? And I'm like, it's such a simple mechanic. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you put a gun to my head, and I would say Zelda 1 on NES is my officially favorite game of all time, which makes no sense. You play hundreds of games over your life, and it's like, what does that mean? I mean, the answer, when I say that answer, I'm always like, oh, it's more like a nostalgia answer, but it is. It's still one of my favorite games ever. I still play it all the time. It's like to me, I know I get it by modern standards. Original Zelda NES is like really hard and messed up because the hints aren't there.
But it's free, you know, like there's a lot of freedom in that game too.
Yeah,
that's like one of the first games I played.
This is that. Like, this is what we've all been saying for years. I'm like, I want to just wander around and feel like I could get killed anywhere. It's the number one thing that like people that are like old school for Zelda have like said for a long time. It's like, I want to wander around and like feel like I'm exploring a world, and I also want to feel like that world is dangerous. You know, it's the Dark Souls thing. You know, it's like I want to feel like I could die because I wander into an area I shouldn't be in. And I'm like, last night I'm like on the open plain for the first time ever, and I can definitely use my scope and see some stuff I probably shouldn't go fight right now. And I'm like, that dude would wreck me. I don't even know what that is. I'm not going over there. You know, like that kind of
Guardians.
Yeah, I know that feeling. There was like a 20-foot lizard. I was like, this guy's gonna destroy me.
Yeah, I'm not going over there. My wife's like, you're a puss. And I'm like, again, I dare you to take these controllers from me, like, and show me how to play it. You know, so yeah, it was good stuff. I mean, yeah, highest marks. I think the highest scores the game is getting across the board are completely legit. It's not a case of the Skyward Sword where everybody just wanted a new Zelda and like was like, yay, it's a new Zelda and it's getting like 90s and stuff like that. Where I didn't.
That game got paid 90s, man. Like
it got some perfect scores too, so that was really weird. Like, I mean, I liked it, but I didn't ever think that highly of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the game that got me into Destructoid actually, because they gave it a shitty review and like, this game's not that good, and I was like, they didn't get paid, you know.
They called it a spade. No, I don't know. Like, I mean, I liked it okay. I had a lot of issues for it, but like, it definitely has charm in the middle sections of the game that I remember fondly. But I sold my copy like for like full value, like 2 years after the game was out to some collector. Because I was like, I'm never going to play this game again because the draw distance is so bad in it that it irks me alone enough not to ever want to play it again. Where I was like, I couldn't stand the draw distance and when you were flying and stuff like that. It would just drive me crazy. And that it was a sad case of like a flaw that like ruined a game that might have been better for me. But this game is so much better in every way than like just every Zelda recently. And there's good Zeldas recently, but this is it. I'm like, since Ocarina,
this game saved me from Zelda. I'm telling you, man. I was at a point where I was like, I don't think it's ever gonna be good again. You know, like after like Skyward Sword, and I didn't look. Link Between Worlds was all right, but I mean, first of all, it's a 2D Zelda game, and second off, like it wasn't as good as other two. Like I love every 2D Zelda game, man. Like I love them. I think they're all like fantastic.
Even the DS
and
ones.
I was like, no, those don't count. It was like, I was like, man, I don't think Zelda's ever going to be good again. You know what I mean? I was worried about that. But
I that worry in my heart too, man. I can't even lie. It's like, now that I can safely say it, that was there for me, that I was like, it's just going to be Ocarina again and again. And it's never going to like evolve. And like, they're just too, I think competition makes people compete, and Nintendo knows they got to compete. Like they know there's no secret anymore. Just being Nintendo isn't enough for them to win, you know, and they know. And look what happened. Like, look at the screenshots we're seeing for Odyssey. Look at this game. You know, like, I mean, this is Nintendo. Like, this is, you know, they still are Nintendo. They're still insane. They still don't have in-game voice chat and all that kind of, you know, they're still nuts, you know. But it's like, that when you put them up against a wall, it's like, and they know they got to do it. Like, I mean, they put everything in this.
Like this game, I honestly think, yeah, it's for the Wii U, but it could just drive Switch sales. You know what I mean? Like, so many people are talking about it. And it's like, it's hard to ignore things like that.
I hope so. That's what they bet the farm on here. So let's all pull for them, right?
Yeah,
true.
Plus, when you have a big game, it's like how much you're going to devote a lot of time to it. So once you buy it, you're kind of stuck with it. So it's like how much of you make a commitment basically. So it's like you really have to think what you want it on. If you're going to regret not having it being portable or whatnot later on, but.
For a lot of people, the answer was easy. If you're Nintendo at the planning meeting for that, the answer is easy. They're like, there's only 14 million people with a Wii U. Mm-hmm. Our goal is to have 50 million of this game sold. Obviously, we want to put it on the big system, like, because that means more people will play it. We put, it's like, that's why it's the big gamble. It's like, the only reason to stay on Wii U is because they didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, because they knew they could have like sold all 14. Anybody who owned a Wii U would have bought the new Switch. Period. Like, that's just.
So you bought at midnight, right? And you were at GameStop. How many people bought a Zelda Wii U there when you were there? The Breath of the Wild Wii U.
I obviously don't think anybody that was at midnight would have bought one. I mean, it just doesn't even make sense. Like, why would you go to?
I was gonna say 3 people bought it when I was there. Like, I saw it. When I went to go the next morning, somebody bought. I think somebody bought both versions, so he might have just been like a collector kind of guy. But I was gonna say, I mean, I did see 3 or 4 Wii U sales. I mean, we know Matt got one too, so it's not like completely.
Matt the plebe.
Yeah, Matt, you pleb scum.
No, I'm just teasing you. I genuinely think like I've even considered going and buying a Wii U version because it could end up being valuable. Like that, I'm like.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing it too, but it's gonna be a little bit cheap in December. The Wii U one, like I saw a lot, dude. It wasn't like there was like, oh, we only got 8 in this store. Like it was, I forgot what. Oh, like it was Xenoblade or Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Wii. Right. Like they dude, like the person brought out, I was like, wow, that's like 20, 25 of them. Like, you know what I mean? So It wasn't like I would have told you, like, if I would have been like, hey, how much would this cost? And I would have told you, oh man, the New York one only had 4. Then I would be like, it might be worth like, like later on, I might just buy it just to have it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. I have a friend who's like one of my best gaming friends who was the other day talking about, he probably will too. He was talking about liquidating his Wii U and all the games, and he has like 2/3 of like the best games for Wii U. And he was like we were trying to come to a price, because I was kind of saying, maybe I'll buy your collection and your Wii U off you, because I want to put it in a box and see if it ever like gets any more valuable, kind of like have a backup tablet, all that, like, and we couldn't come to a price because of all the games, because he kind of wants to get more for the games. And I'm like, dude, the money isn't in the games. The money's in that hardware right there. Like I'm willing to pay a fair price for that, And we were batting it back and forth, and it was really funny because we were getting down to stuff like this. He's like, come on, how many copies of such and such a game for Wii U are going to be out there in the world, forever? Like, maybe in 20 years, it's going to be really hard to get a copy of whatever, and we were going back and forth. It was a really funny conversation, because I was like, there's no way I'm paying you that much for a Wii U. Come on, bro. And he's like,
yeah. Like my boy bought his Wii U off somebody who just like, I don't want it anymore. And he got Smash, New Super Mario Brothers U, and like 2 other games for like 200 or 220. You know what I mean? I was like, he got 6 games and a Wii U for 220, and it was like, that's a really good deal. Like, it's like, yeah, you want to use it for collecting purposes. Like, now if his Wii U was the Zelda U1 unopened from the box, I'd be like, you know what, you got something going there. But
that is something going there, because see, my buddies, the main attraction is that like I know him and he didn't use it very hard, and he takes really good care of his stuff, so it's like, it's a win, but it's not a special one or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, look, but I know we got to cut it off because we're running to like 2 hours. Yeah, my Wii U, dude, is actually still in that white covering. That like I can take a picture of it. It's still in the white covering. That's how much I'm like paranoid about my systems and stuff.
What a nerd! That's a great way to wrap up. Nice, love it.
All right, so we'll wrap it up there for this week. You can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And Mike, where can people find you?
All right, guys, you can find me on Troy Filibuster on Twitter, and then Gaming Night Live on YouTube. So
nice. And Unoclay, what about you?
Switch. You can find me on the new Nintendo Switch as Unoclay. Like, I don't know how you send me a friend request if you don't have my friend code.
No, you can add people from Mario or Miitomo or Fire Emblem.
Okay, I'm not on any of those
things. Yeah, he doesn't have a smartphone.
So. I'm not on any of those things. So, like, if anybody wants to get a hold of me, post a comment to Matt in one of the many ways you might get this podcast. I'd love to start building a friend library because right now Mike's my only friend on on a Switch. So, like, I would like to get some more going.
Man, even Eli shunned you. That's pretty bad.
I don't even know if he's updated his firmware or whatever. He was having that whole issue. But anyway, we can talk about that another time. But yeah, anyhow. So yeah, find me on Switch. I'd love to have some new friends. So anyone out there, check in.
Cool. So were you ever listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle everywhere on the internet. We'll see you next time and leave gaming to Nintendo.